Hi, Al Wadley here again, and I just wanted to give you a brief introduction on how to do Feldenkrais lessons. I covered quite a bit of information in the introduction, and I want to go over just some basics of how to do this Feldenkrais lesson or any Feldenkrais lesson. So there are some basic guidelines that I want you to be aware of when you approach doing a Feldenkrais lesson. So we're going to do this one in a chair. Many lessons are done lying on the floor, some are done in standing, some are done sitting on the floor. The many positions in which we work doing these lessons. So the lessons are verbally guided. So I don't show you what to do. I use my words, I use my voice to guide you through this lesson. And that's a really important way that Feldenkrais awareness through movement lessons are taught, and a way that really differentiates them from other modalities of movement exercise and movement practice. So the key thing about that is, so I'm guiding you through, you're hearing my words, and you're translating those words into movement. So you have to make sense of them in whatever way you can make sense of them through your habits. And so when you do that, you're modifying your habits to accommodate the request of the movement, to accommodate the request of the instructions. And in that process, we're exploring different ways of doing the movement, different variations, and through that, you begin to modify the neurology of that habit, and that habit becomes one that serves you better and functions more fully to help you do the things you want to do in life. So if I demonstrated and you just copied what I did, you would lose a lot of the nuance of what goes into this lesson. You'd just see me doing a movement, you'd copy it, but you wouldn't really own it as in the same way that you do when you listen to the verbal instructions and you process it into movement. You really own it, it is yours, and you're changing yourself in a very personalized way. It's a beautiful way to work. It's a powerful way to work. So here's just some guidelines for doing lessons. So one is make the movement slow and gentle. This is a really important aspect of doing these lessons. Making slow, small movements allows you to spread your awareness to sense what you're actually doing. And that way you're cultivating more choice and more awareness of your habits. A lot of our habits are outside of conscious awareness. We're not aware of them. So that is why we want to do this practice, become aware of them and modify them so that they serve us better. Work within your range of motion. So doing the movements so you're not stretching and straining, but you're working within a comfortable range of motion. When you do that, the range of motion expands. It becomes a larger range of motion. It's more comfortable for you to work in without the effort, without the stretching, without the straining. You're changing your brain and you're changing your nervous system to do that. When you're doing Feldenkrais lessons, maintain a sense of curiosity and exploration. It keeps you more open to learning and trying things out. And we want to cultivate a state of learning. It's more like when we were children, we were learning to walk and crawl. We just tried things out. It was an exploration. We were curious about ourselves. We were curious about movement. We were curious about how to do things. And it was non-goal directive learning. So we're doing the same thing in these lessons, and we're doing it in a more systematic way as adults. So you're doing the movements, sense how other parts of yourself are participating. This is a key thing in lessons. I guide you to become aware of how different parts are participating as you're doing the movements. Paying attention, spread your attention around. What other parts are participating in the movement? You may be moving your hand or your arm, but there's so many other parts of ourselves that are participating. And this is another aspect of bringing awareness through movement to yourself and really sensing how you function, how you move, and how you can improve that. So another key thing is to stop and rest. Whenever you get tired, you get fatigued, you get confused, or you get lost, stop and rest. And then come back to it. You'll find that it's easier, your mind, your brain are restored, your nervous system is refreshed, and you can come back and do the movement easily. Same thing is true if you experience pain or discomfort. Stop and rest. And then come back to the movement, and if you still have some discomfort, make the movement smaller, make it slower, so you don't activate that pain response. Generally, you can find a range of motion that you're not activating that pain response. So why is that important? We want to cultivate ease and comfort while we're doing these movements and not a sense of pain and strain. We learn what we practice. So we're going to practice ease, we're going to practice comfort, we're going to practice moving within a comfortable range of motion. That's what we want to train our brain to do. That becomes the preferred way of organizing our movement. That's a really key important idea about doing these Feldenkrais lessons. And finally, give yourself some time at the end of the lesson to integrate and process the lesson. The best way to do this is take a rest, take a nap, or take a walk. And try to remain attentive to yourself, aware, and notice what's different as you proceed through your day. And that'll help to integrate the lesson and help to generalize it. So please enjoy. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. I'm happy to hear from you. And I hope you enjoyed this little free lesson. And all right, take care. Thanks.